Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. My name is Oscar Carmona, and I'm the founder and lead guide for Birding Texas and beyond. Thank you for joining me this evening for our webinar providing an overview of our upcoming Central Texas Coast birding tours. We are going to be recording this webinar, so I have turned off everyone's audio and video. However, if you have any questions, please feel free to send them through the chat, and I will address them at the end of the presentation during the Q&A session. We will be covering the following topics. Introductions, detail our upcoming Central Texas Coast birding tours with a look at the locations we will be visiting, along with a sampling of the bird species we may see. We will also look at what's included in our tour packages and what to expect, and then we'll go ahead and end our webinar with a Q&A session. A little bit about Birding Texas and beyond. We officially launched in July of 2025. After several years, actually decades of leading private tours, we decided it was time to expand our bird guiding services to include all-inclusive tour packages throughout Texas and other U.S. and international destinations. Our mission is to create memorable and educational birding experiences by highlighting the distinctive bird species, habitats, wildlife, and local cultures of the destinations we explore. We offer various tour packages ranging from half-day local excursions to week-long expeditions where we target specific bird species or habitats. The two guides for the upcoming Central Texas Coast tours we are covering today are Troy Hibbets and myself. A little background on each of us. I am a native Texan. I started birding at a young age while living in the Rio Grande Valley and have birded for over 40 years throughout all corners of the state and have written articles for Birding Magazine, Birders World, and Birdwatchers Digest, and have provided input for several books and field guides. In addition, I have conducted breeding surveys of endangered bird species in Texas, particularly the golden cheek warbler and the black-capped vireo, and have professional experiences with guiding tours in Texas and Mexico. Our second guide, Troy Hibbets, grew up birding on family vacations across the Mountain West. Troy is a high school science teacher and spends his weekends and vacation time with birding and general wildlife observation and photography. In addition to birding, he is a leading expert on reptiles and amphibians in the Southwest, having co-authored 3 field guides for the state of Texas. He has also birded in all of Texas's 254 counties and has many years of birding experience specifically in South and West Texas, as well as in southeastern Arizona. The tours we'll be covering this evening include the Whooping Cranes and King Ranch and the Winter in South Texas and Whooping Cranes. The Whooping Cranes and King Ranch tour is a 5-day, 4-night tour and will run from both February the 4th through the 8th, as well as March 25th through the 29th of 2026. The Winter in South Texas and Whooping Cranes is a 9-day, 8-night tour and will run from January 14th through the 22nd and February 18th through the 26th, 2026, and that will be led by Cameron, and those will be led by Cameron Cox. These two tours are very similar, with the exception that the Winter in South Texas of Whooping Cranes includes 5 additional days of birding in the lower Rio Grande Valley. Our tours are limited to 8 participants, and we still have spaces available on these tours. The Central Texas coast is a great place to bird any time of the year. However, the winter provides opportunities to see a greater variety of birds as wintering species come into the area, including the much sought after whooping crane. The March trip offers the opportunity to possibly see some early spring migrants in the area, and there is always a likelihood of seeing a vagrant bird during the winter months. Add in the pleasant weather, and there is no better place in the United States to enjoy a winter birding vacation. Our Whooping Cranes and King Ranch tour is the first tour we are highlighting this evening. The tour is a 5-day, 4 nights, and starts and ends in Corpus Christi, Texas, which is A on the map. We spend the first 2 nights in the Rockport Fulton area, which is B on your map. The first 2 days of the tour are spent birding the Rockport area, including a boat tour through the salt marshes of Aransas National Wildlife Refuge to see the whooping cranes, and a visit to nearby Goose Island State Park and the various other nature preserves in the Rockport area to see a variety of wintering water birds in the area. The whooping crane, of course, is the main target bird for the first leg of this tour. These birds were nearly extinct in 1941 with only 21 birds left in existence. Now the birds number around 600 and can be considered a conservation success story. The designation of Aransas National Wildlife Refuge is a main factor to this bird's survival. The roseate spoonbill is a common sight along the Texas coast and is the only spoonbill species found in the Americas. The 5 other spoonbills are found in Asia, Africa, Europe, and Australia. And just like humans, the older the spoonbill gets, the more it balls. Mottled ducks are primarily found along the Gulf Coast and freshwater wetlands and is the only dabbling duck specialized for nesting in southern marshes. They are closely related to mallards and American black ducks and have hybridized with mallards, which raises concern that the population of the species is being diluted. The crested caracara is a familiar sight whether in the brush country or in the coastal prairie. These birds can often be found scavenging with vultures or hunting for prey on their own. Despite their appearance, these birds are actually members of the falcon family and are often referred to as a Mexican eagle. The redhead is a common sight in winter in the bays of the central Texas coast. About 75% of the population of these birds winter along the Texas coast from the Rockport area down to the lower Texas coast, where we may see rafts of several hundred birds in the coastal bays. American oyster catchers can be seen among salt marshes and barrier beaches, and they feed on a variety of mollusks. They are the only bird with the ability to open clams and oysters. Seeing these birds is also dependent on the tides exposing oyster beds. Brown pelicans can be found along the entire Gulf Coast and are commonly seen flying in loose formations over the bays and Gulf in the area. They have rebounded tremendously after becoming scarce in the 1960s and 70s due to pesticide usage. Day 3 will be spent birding the greater Corpus Christi area to include Hazel Bazemore County Park and Pollywog Pond, located on the southwest side of Corpus Christi, where we may see several species more typical of the Rio Grande Valley, such as green jay, great kiskadee, and others. Later in the day, we head east towards the coast and bird Mustang Island, including the bayfront, coastal prairie, and Gulf shoreline, and finish the day on the north end of the island at Leona Bell Turnbull Birding Center, where an American flamingo has resided since 2024. Now we'll look at a few species that we will see on the second leg of the tour. If any bird is a symbol of the tropical species found in South Texas, it is likely the green jay. They have slightly expanded their range northward and can be seen on the south side of the central Texas coast. They are brightly colored and loud and can be seen with ease at some of the locations where feeders are set up. They can also mimic other bird calls and have been known to use tools to forage for food. American flamingos are typically found in the Caribbean, the Yucatan Peninsula, and to a lesser extent in southern Florida. The individual at Leona Bell Turnbull Birding Center was first seen in late 2023, early 2024, after Hurricane Idalia displaced several flamingos from the Caribbean into the U.S. This bird has made the birding center its home ever since, to the delight of many birders. The apple meadow falcon can be seen in the coastal prairie areas on Mustang Island. This species altogether disappeared from this region in the early 1900s. In the 1980s, reintroduction efforts began in the coastal prairie areas of South Texas and the Central Texas coast to repopulate their former range in Texas. Since then, this species has established a small breeding population. Great kiskadees are a South Texas specialty, which have slowly expanded its range into the Central Texas coast area. They are a loud and conspicuous bird that acts like a kingfisher, flycatcher, and fruit-eating bird all in one colorful package. It is the northernmost ranging member of the family that includes similar-looking species such as boatbill flycatcher and social flycatcher. Golden-fronted woodpeckers are found primarily in Texas and Oklahoma. Like other Melanurpes woodpeckers, such as the red-bellied and Gila, they are easily located as they are very vocal. One of the main food sources of the species is a fruit of the prickly pear cactus. Many times you see these birds with purple stains on their faces from eating the fruit. The reddish egret can be found in the salt flats where it hunts its prey by running through shallows with long strides, staggering sideways, leaping in the air, raising one or both wings, and abruptly stabbing at fish. We call this a reddish egret dance. There are two color phases found in the area, the dark morph shown here and the white morph, which is less common. Sandhill cranes can often be seen in open fields near the coast and sometimes in company with whooping cranes. Their presence is usually announced with their loud bugling calls. Day 4 would be spent, the majority of the day will be spent on a private tour of the King Ranch Norias Division, which is located in the south end of the vast ranch. And on day 5, if time allows, we will explore a few local birding spots in and around the Corpus Christi area before we conclude that we'll be looking for on the King Ranch. The Ferruginous pygmy owl is a threatened species in the United States with very limited ranges in both South Texas and southeastern Arizona. Formerly more common in the Rio Grande Valley, these birds are more frequently seen in the private brushlands of the King Ranch, where they occupy the mesquite and live oak mottes of the ranch. The subspecies found in Texas is known as a cactus ferruginous pygmy owl. The white-tailed hawk is a beautiful raptor species primarily found in coastal prairies and brushlands in the region. This species is known to converge in large numbers at brush fires where they take advantage of small mammals and rodents fleeing the fire. Unlike other orioles, the Audubon's orioles, male and female, look alike with its yellow body, green back, and black head. Usually difficult to see in dense underbrush, they are mainly seen at the King Ranch Norias division. Its song consists of slow and varied whistles, sounding almost like a person whistling. The nondescript northern beardless tyrannid is another species with a limited range in the U.S., primarily being southeastern Arizona and extreme southern Texas. This plain-looking gray flycatcher acts more like a vireo than a flycatcher as it hops between branches in search of insects. They are most often located by their song and calls, which can be described as a sad whistle or a series of sad whistles. The Harris's hawk is one of two members of the Parabudio family, the other being the white-rumped hawk found in South America. Harris's hawks are social raptors that work together as a team with nesting and hunting. They can often be seen perched together in a tree in search of prey. Their social nature and ease around humans have made them a popular choice for use in falconry and educational programs. The long-billed thrasher is similar to the brown thrasher of the eastern U.S., but has a grayer face, brighter orange eyes, and longer curved bill. The bird can be found skulking in the underbrush, tossing around leaf litter as it forages. The other regularly occurring thrasher in the area is a curve-bill thrasher. The white-tipped dove is the most widespread dove in the Americas, but its range in the U.S. is limited to deep South Texas. It is often heard before being seen with its distinctive cooing, which sounds like someone blowing across the top of a glass bottle. They are most often seen foraging on the ground beneath low vegetation or flying across openings in the forest. Our Winter in South Texas at Whooping Cranes tour is the second tour we are highlighting this evening. This tour is a 9-day, 8-night tour and starts and ends in Corpus Christi, Texas. The first 3 days of the tour are the same as a Whooping Cranes and King Ranch tour, which includes a boat tour through the salt marshes of Aransas National Wildlife Refuge to see the Whooping Cranes, visits to Leona Bell Turnbull Birding Center and Mustang Island to see a variety of winter and water birds in the area, as well as a King Ranch tour on day 3. The only difference is that we do not do the southwest portion of Corpus Christi, which includes Hazel, Bazemore, and Pollywog Pond, as we will be seeing the same species with more regularity in the Rio Grande Valley. The tour does include 6 additional days of birding in the Rio Grande Valley from the coast to the upper valley and visits such birding hotspots as Santa Margarita Ranch, Salaneno, Santa Ana National Wildlife Refuge, South Padre Island, and Estero Llano Grande State Park, among others, where in addition to seeing 24 South Texas specialties, the possibility of seeing rare vagrants is also likely. The last day of the tour, day 9, is spent driving and birding on the way back to Corpus Christi from the upper valley. If you want to learn more about this tour, you can look at our YouTube channel, Birding Texas and Beyond, and look at the webinar called South Texas Winter Tour Overview. Now, I always like to highlight some of the recent vagrant birds in the Rio Grande Valley, and I like to kind of touch base on a few of them. The first one being the mottled owl. This bird was first found on the ranch in 2023 and is still present there at Santa Margarita Ranch. This species has been found regularly about 80 miles south of the border. And in fact, on a very clear, cool winter day that's not too hazy, and you're standing on the bluffs at Santa Margarita Ranch, you can actually see the outline of the Sierra Picacho Mountains in the distance, where this bird is a regular resident species. The crimson-colored grosbeak is a rare visitor to Texas from Mexico and is seen every few years. The most recent sighting was from the Edinburgh Scenic Wetlands as of late December. The brown jay is a very rare resident in the Rio Grande Valley and has been seen sporadically the past few years. The entire U.S. population consists of a family group of 78 birds, and one immature bird has been recently seen at Salinenio. It is a species that really hasn't increased in numbers for many, many years, but the family group of 7 or 8 birds has been kind of going strong. Morelet seedeater is a local resident in the upper valley near Falcon Dam. They can be seen with some patience in thick reeds along the Rio Grande River at Santa Margarita Ranch and Salinenio. Tropical parulas are rare residents in the Rio Grande Valley and can often be found in mixed flocks with other wintering passerines. There have been recent sightings in Los Fresnos this winter. It is also a very low density breeder in some parts of the Rio Grande Valley and in King Ranch. Hookbill kites are a rare resident in the Rio Grande Valley and can often be difficult to find some years. They have been seen recently at Santa Ana National Wildlife Refuge and have been absent from other locations in the Rio Grande Valley. That concludes the overview of the 2 tours. We will now go over what the tour packages include and what to expect. The potential to see 100 plus birds on the Central Texas coast and 200 plus birds with South Texas portion is possible. Our November South Texas Specialties and Rarities tour in the Rio Grande Valley logged 204 species. So what's included? Our tour packages include expert guide services, entrance fees to all parks and preserves, a 3-hour boat tour to Aransas National Wildlife Refuge, an 8-hour tour to King Ranch Norris Division to look for the Ferruginous pygmy owl and other species, local ground transportation, your accommodations and lodging. Our tours are limited to 8 participants, so we do pride ourselves in offering small groups. And all tours do include meals from dinner on day 1 to breakfast on the last day of the tour and daily refreshments such as water and snacks. We also provide pre-tour information packages with trip planning resources to you upon reservation confirmation. So what to expect? 100 plus species potential on the Central Texas coast, 200 plus species for the winter in South Texas and whooping cranes. Moderate daily walks, 2 to 3 miles. Walking on uneven, soggy terrain in the rain is totally possible, especially during the winter months. Daily field time is between 7 to 10 hours a day, so we try to make the most of our days out in the field. We will have a pre-dawn departure for the King Ranch tour, which possibly means leaving no later than 5 a.m. from the hotel. We will have moderate drives to hotspot locations throughout the entire tour. And then we will have early day starts, morning birding, lunch break, and then we will resume birding up until around 5 p.m., followed by dinner at a local restaurant. Okay, I will now answer any questions that were submitted via the chat or registration form. If you have any questions, please submit them now. If you think of anything after the webinar, please feel free to email us and we'll get back to you. Thank you again for joining us this evening and your interest in Birding Texas and beyond. Please feel free to reach out with any questions you may have, and make sure to visit our website to learn more about our upcoming tours and follow us on social media to stay informed on our trip reports and special announcements. Have a great evening, a great new year, and thank you again for joining us for your next birding adventure.